Well, this is some breaking news. It appears that an individual who was armed with a wide variety of things showed up at YouTuber and YouTuber internet commentator's house with I guess, desires to remove him from the planet. This is wild. This is the world we live in now. Of course, that individual, that criminal, is now taking the room temperature challenge as he was ventilated quickly by local PD. But this story is absolutely wild. Look, I don't care how much you hate someone's opinion. You don't show up at their house. And Nick, he has had a situation where he says, "Your body, my choice," or something like that. He made a joke and that literally triggered everyone. It was an obvious joke. Who cares? I don't know why people let themselves get so worked up about somebody. You could just ignore them. He already had somebody show up at his house one time. Now that has resulted in a charge against himself. Because he lives in Chicago, you can't defend yourself there. And now apparently somebody with a pistol who had ended 3 other people's lives earlier in the day, a crossbow, and an incendiary device showed up at his home and intended to take his life. Now, this is reported by Nick, but what I will say it is supported by actual police reports. You can see this. He reports an armed attacker attempted to end his life. The assailant was armed, and Nick is unharmed. Here you see the police bulletin. It's real. On December 28th at 11:40 in the evening, so this is in the middle of the night, Berwyn police officer responded to the 1800 block home Ave for a report of a male subject armed. Responding officers located the subject, who then fled on foot, successfully escaped from police officers. The subject then forced residents into somebody's house where he ended the lives of 2 dogs. Officers then observed the offender fleeing eastbound into the yard on another home. The subject disobeyed officers' verbal commands and to stop, and proceeded to fire at police officers, of where at that point he was ventilated. He got his lead injection. He was actually wanted for 3 other incidents like this earlier in the day. I don't know if it's just a coincidence that this guy was cracked out, running from cops, running into any house he could. I don't know. Did he, know where Nick lived? I don't know. We don't know that answer right now. But what we do know is, earlier this year, some lunatic lady, or I think it was a man, a biological man, showed up at his house and,
Not doing anything. Huh? What I'm going to tell you is this.
Well, I heard they're targeting your house.
Yes. I've been
About
harassed
social
for the past
media.
4 days.
This is, he pepper sprayed somebody. He shouldn't have done that. You can't do that in Chicago. You can't just open your door when the threat is, not trying to get in and pepper spray him. That was silly. But now, last night, an armed madman made an attempt at my life at my home, which was recently doxxed on this platform. It's unclear if the suspect knew Nick or that he even lived in the home. I just want to insert, looks like just moments ago, we got some footage from the Ring Doorbell cam. He was definitely, throughout this video, I've speculated, well, it appears now that they were there for Nick. Here he approaches the doorbell with his weapon, white guy. Rings the bell. He was definitely there to do it. He was definitely there to do it. Rings the bell again. He was live streaming at the time. Here he is at the door. He could just see this at the door. It's wild. If somebody rings your doorbell, you're just the guy's got to... So he knew. He was 100% there to to take Nick's life. He's ringing the doorbell, waiting for him to answer. Oh, and he said, "Yo, Nick." Yep, definitely there. Definitely there. Wow, scary stuff. He reported that he carried all sorts of weapons. I believe he intended to just end my life. I don't know. Let's say even if it isn't true, okay. Let's say it's not true. Let's say this was just some cracked out dude who was like running from cops and breaking into houses. First of all, he should get in my opinion, the death penalty for what he did to those dogs. But, I'm more concerned about the dogs than I am Nick. But I'm just kidding. No, actually, I don't think I am. I love dogs. Nick has a lot of controversial opinions. He's allowed to have them. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff he says. And guess what? I don't watch his content. I don't follow him on Twitter. I don't interact with him. And guess what? My life is just totally fine. Somewhere along the lines, people thought it got to, just because they think that your opinion is really bad, they can go and, physically attack you. This happened to me, 5-6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. Some guy who was drunk, didn't like my posts online, and physically attacked me when my back was turned like a real American hero. That individual then saw me in court, and it didn't end well. That said, we still live in a world where somebody's like, I don't like the things this guy says on the internet, so I'm going to try to end his life. Like, this guy was trying to cause significant physical harm to me because he didn't like my opinions online. This individual, with Nick, maybe he had just broken into the house. Maybe he had just, maybe he did know that Nick was there. I don't know. Police didn't immediately respond to that. His home address was doxxed last month after he posted a video mocking women's reproductive rights following Trump's win. Using the doxxed address, social media activist Marla Rose went to his house to confront him on November 10th. She recorded herself attempting to ring his doorbell before Nick opened the door and allegedly pepper sprayed her before pushing her down the stairs. Fuentes was arrested for the altercation on November 27th and charged. Now, it is also my opinion that Nick never would have been charged for that if he was black. But it was because he's charged for it because people believe his opinions mean he doesn't get the same level of justice as anyone else. I don't know. He has me blocked. See, he has me blocked and I still defend him, right? It's not hard to defend. It's not hard to defend somebody from, a wild scenario where a lunatic breaks in their house and attempts to destroy their life or remove them from this planet. I mean, this is wild. I don't know if he deleted that post or what. I don't know. I'm blocked by him, so I don't know. Maybe that's why I can't see it. But he says he's dead now. I'm okay. It's wild. Again, I don't agree with his opinion. I really, many of the things he says. I do think he's an expert troll. I think that the Groypers are experts at social media rainbow ops. But yeah, he's definitely telling the truth. Now, I don't know. People are saying now he's seeking money to move. Well, he can't move probably while he's got he could stay in Chicago, but he can't move while he's got this court case going on. Obviously, I don't think he's going to get jail time for the battery thing. But it's wild. It's still unclear, again, if this suspect knew him, but it's nuts. I mean, this guy has a long history of saying some really inflammatory stuff. But the thing is, it's just literally like that Simpsons episode, the just don't look thing. I don't have to get upset about things that Nick says because I don't watch his content. I don't interact with him. It's so wild. I can just literally not watch his content. These left-wing lunatics. Now, this individual who had taken 3 other lives earlier in the day, to me, it seems more likely that he was just looking to get into somebody's house and he ended up on that street. I don't know. Chicago's a very big, big area, so maybe he did know. We don't know who these other 3 people. So if there are these 3 other people that, lost their lives, was it a gang thing? Was it, were they internet commentators? Did they say things about women? Was this individual trans? We don't know any of that stuff. That would be stuff that might actually link it, might be more likely to link it to, some sort of, that Nick was targeted. For right now, I think it's safe to operate under the assumption that, maybe the fact that this kid's, Nick, his internet, or he was doxxed, maybe this guy did know. Maybe he did know, and he was going there to destroy him, to take his life. It's insane. The details of it seem like it could just be a crackhead that was trying to break into various houses. I don't know. Get out of Chicago. I think the moral of the story is get out of Chicago. Get out of states that won't let you defend yourself. Get out of states that, will let, lunatics do this stuff. You see Brett LeGrove, how many influencers are going to publicly denounce this? Well, you'd have to be an idiot not to do that. I don't like Nick. I don't care for his viewers, at least the ones that like dogpile on Twitter. I'm sure he has viewers that are probably totally normal. But like, I don't, I'm not simping, but I can basically say it's pretty obvious that this is not okay. If it was targeted, of course. And my recommendation would be, well, again, I disagree with many of the things that Nick says. I don't think he should get physically harmed. I think that he should move the heck out of Chicago as quick as he can and move to a state that will allow you to defend yourself, especially if you're going to have lunatics breaking into your house in the middle of the night. I don't know. We don't know what the triple homicide was earlier in the day. Was that, again, I don't know. Who are those people? Were they also suspected supremacists or whatever, as the left says? Were they right-wingers? I don't know. If they were, then perhaps this case was related. Again, I don't agree with what Nick Fuentes says about a lot of things. I do think he's hilarious at times when he trolls people. But it doesn't matter. I'm still glad he's safe, and I'm glad that this criminal is no longer on the planet. And that's the long and short of it. I think that's just the human way to respond to that. If this was targeted, obviously we'll do a follow-up if we find out who these other 3 victims were. If it was some sort of attempt on his life. If it was just a crackhead, I'm still glad he's safe. I hope you were informed by this video. If you were, please do leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, subscribe or follow down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.